subscribe, like the video, and, if possible, join Patreon. But if you don't have much money, you can support the channel by watching the novels on euroaudiobooks.com. Remember that you can participate in the polls so that your favorite novel gets published for free.
Clan. Even a fool can see something strange. It's just that the Senju clan was wiped out without bloodshed, which made it impossible for Tsunade to start. In addition, Sarutobi Hiruzen really has a teacher-student relationship with her, which makes Tsunade not go crazy. Only, now it seems that the only remaining teacher-student relationship is probably gone. Chapter 19, Orochimaru's Visit. Senju family, Tsunade family. At this moment, Shizen looked at Chiba, who was looking at a scroll in confusion, and couldn't help but ask, "Chiba, what did you say to Tsunade-sama? I haven't seen her get so angry for a long time and rushed out in such a hurry." Hearing this, Chiba calmly flipped through the scroll while still holding a notebook in his hand, writing and drawing, and said, "I was bullied outside, come back and sue. Tsunade, as my parent, naturally wants to get back." Shizen froze. He froze for a long time, and then opened his mouth with an expression of disbelief. "Liar! Chiba, who can bully you at the ninja school? Not from school. Who is that?" "Hokage assistant, Shimura Dans." Shizen felt Chiba recently became crazy. It's fine to show off at school and make everyone in the village know about it, but I didn't expect to be so crazy at home. And at this moment, there was a knock on the door suddenly. Shizen froze for a moment. Someone visiting? But Tsunade-sama isn't here. At this moment, with the book in Chiba's hand, he paused and said, "Open the door and have a look. Maybe it's not Tsunade. Then who can I find?" Shizen curled his lips, looking at Chiba still reading, feeling a little bored, then went to the door and opened it. After seeing the person coming, her face changed slightly. "Master Orochimaru? Why are you here?" It was Lunkun Orochimaru who came to Tsunade's house. "Are you here to see Master Tsunade?" "Unfortunately, Master Tsunade is not at home right now." Hearing this, a smile appeared on Orochimaru's face. "It's okay, I'll wait for her." "Then please come in." Shizen ushered Orochimaru in, and then ran to the kitchen by himself. "Wait a moment, Lord Orochimaru. Let me make you a cup of tea." Orochimaru ignored him. Instead, his eyes fell on Chiba in the distance. His eyes narrowed slightly, and a cold breath was released from his body. Dark, wild, evil, full of ominous. This breath, as if it could affect the surrounding environment, made the temperature in the room drop a lot. Only, Chiba sitting in the distance is like a sun at this moment, and there's a majestic vitality surging in his body. The ability to perceive is very strong. Orochimaru spoke and gave his evaluation. Chiba didn't look back and continued to flip through the scroll. "It's not perception. Anyone who encounters a beast will be aware of it." Beast. An apt description. Orochimaru licked his tongue. "He is a snake, a cold snake. Be a hunter." "So Chiba, what are you?" "It's just a blink of an eye." Orochimaru came behind Chiba without knowing when. The cold gaze, as if to shoot through Chiba, makes people shudder. However, facing the gaze enough to make anyone shudder, Chiba just stretched out his hand. "Sit." Orochimaru smiled. "You are very brave. You know who I am, and you dare to read a book so calmly in front of me? What are you reading?" Hearing this, Chiba put down the scroll in his hand and said, "The stuff you've ever dreamed of." Orochimaru narrowed his eyes slightly. Chiba couldn't deny it, and suddenly handed Orochimaru his own notebook. Orochimaru took it suspiciously, looked around, and couldn't help but shrink his pupils. Sharingan practice method change. This is how the Uchiha clan practiced Sharingan. Based on anthropology and based on the flow of chakra, it describes the operation mode of Sharingan, and then discusses a set of special cultivation methods based on it. How Sharingan opened his eyes. After the opening of the eyes, how the Sharingan cultivated from the 1-gauge jade to the 3-gauge jade is all discussed. Of course, this is just a theory and has not been simplified. It's just that some details can't be perfected. Orochimaru does not have a Sharingan, nor does he know how to cultivate a Sharingan. However, as far as the cultivation method discussed in this notebook is concerned, It is absolutely feasible in terms of human body. Orochimaru was startled, looking at Chiba in disbelief, looking at him like a monster. Sharingan practice, the Uchiha family didn't understand at all. It was nondescript. Their eye-opening and cultivation are more about spiritual stimulation. However, Chiba tells you with sound theory that it is not necessary. Is this what you modified? Nature. Orochimaru. There is no doubt that he was hit. The talent for cultivation is full, and now, the talent for research is also shown. How can there be such an outstanding person in the world? And he is only 6 years old. Tsunade didn't leave the village as in the original book because of Chiba's instigation by a butterfly. Therefore, Orochimaru often needs to find Tsunade because of research. He wants to live forever. As for immortality, Tsunade owns the human body and medical knowledge involved. However, he now feels that Chiba is a more suitable candidate than Tsunade. Moment. Orochimaru looked at Chiba with longing. This is a treasure trove. His body hides the secrets of the Senju clan, and in his mind, there is knowledge that can study eternal life. Sticking out his tongue and licking it, Orochimaru showed an unprecedented fierce look. Put away your tricks. Mr. Snake, your ambition is not here. Hearing this, Orochimaru smiled and put away his greed. Here, after all, is the Senju family, and Tsunade is still in the village. Furthermore, Orochimaru still needs to stay and study, and it is impossible to make a move. Chiba, you seem to know me well. The genius is on the left, the madman is on the right. Chiba smiled and looked back at Orochimaru calmly. The two looked at each other. Orochimaru's beastly gaze didn't make Chiba flinch in fear. Mr. Snake, what kind do you belong to? No matter what it is, it has always been incomprehensible. But I understand you. Chiba, affirmation to Orochimaru. Chapter 20. Hope to call you comrade. You understand me? Orochimaru smiled and became interested in the little man in front of him, who was only 6 years old, other than research experiments. Today, actually, he didn't come to find Tsunade at all. In private observation, he has his eye on Chiba. Only this time, when Tsunade went out, Orochimaru found an opportunity to take a closer look at this experimental material that made his heart flutter. But what Orochimaru didn't know was that possibly it wasn't he who was after Chiba, but Chiba who was after him. And today, it wasn't Orochimaru who came to observe Chiba up close. Chiba was here waiting for Orochimaru's arrival. Mr. Chiba, I'm curious. How do you understand me? Do you want to hear it? Orochimaru nodded. He didn't mind hearing Chiba's understanding. Putting down the scroll in his hand, Chiba spoke calmly. Mr. Snake, you were born in the chaos of war. You are extremely talented, and you were accepted as an apprentice by 3rd Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen. At that time, you were high-spirited, positive, optimistic, and full of longing for the future. Once upon a time, you were full of desire and awe for that position. Grow up under the influence of will of fire since childhood. That is the seed of faith buried in your heart. However, good times don't last long. War is the main theme of this world, and war will kill people. You lose your parents, and you start thinking, what's the point of war? Maybe in order to end the war, you use your talent to keep getting stronger, want to climb up, gain recognition, and bring peace. However, the more you climb up, the more and more deaths you will see. Your relatives, your comrades in arms, and your companions all fell to the ground one after another. Finally, you're numb, yet you climbed high enough to touch that position of longing and awe. However, the person in that position personally shot you down from a height. Decades of inner beliefs collapsed in one day. Suddenly, you can't find the meaning of living. You start thinking, what is the meaning of life? You thought about it for a long time, and finally came up with a nondescript answer. Alive, life, only alive, has meaning. And if you want to live, you can only live forever. For a split second, Chiba looked at Orochimaru with calm eyes. That look had a complexity Orochimaru had never seen before. Mr. Snake, I feel very sad. Not only you, but also countless people who have encountered the same situation as you in the war. In this dark world, to what extent must people be forced to stop the endless war and malice? In just a few words, Orochimaru's troubled life is vividly described. At this moment, Orochimaru looked at Chiba, less joking than before and more serious. Because he found out, this guy doesn't seem to be joking. Very sharp review. But does that count as understanding me? Even I don't understand myself. Orochimaru licked his lips. The expression is very indifferent. The shock in the heart is simply earth-shaking. He felt that the 6-year-old child in front of him had seen through him, into the deepest part of his heart. It's scary. Let Orochimaru have an inexplicable fear. It's not that Orochimaru is afraid of Chiba, but something else. To understand a person, don't look at what he says, but look at what he does. If a hypocrite has been hypocritical all his life, can you call him a hypocrite? Understanding is very idealistic, but what you do is not changed by people's will. It is materialistic. So, Mr. Snake, let me ask you a question. The genius is on the left, the madman is on the right. Which kind of do you belong to? Hearing this, Orochimaru smiled and spoke ironically. Are you playing tricks on me? Isn't self-evaluation something also idealism? Hearing this, Chiba smiled happily. Sure enough, things like understanding are mutual. Orochimaru took a look at Chiba. He thought it was very interesting for Chiba to talk like this. Then Chiba-kun, where is the meaning of your life? Change the world. Chiba uttered an answer that Orochimaru couldn't have imagined. For a moment, Orochimaru thought he heard it wrong. Earlier, Chiba discussed Orochimaru's life in a remark, proving a point. People can't change the world. Orochimaru failed to do so, to say the least. As a result, Chiba turned around and said he was going to do it. At this moment, Orochimaru felt that Chiba was absurd. Sure enough, the genius is on the left and the lunatic is on the right. There is only a thin line between a genius and a madman. Chiba, are you kidding me? It's not. Chiba spoke calmly. The world is dark, forcing countless people to sink, including many people, including Mr. Snake. I believe that you all thought about changing the world and even took action so far, but all of you failed in the end. You have all discovered that there is a problem in this world, but you don't know where the root of the problem is. You all have dreams about a beautiful world in the future, but you still can't find a specific path to that future. Perhaps it's a lack of thought. Orochimaru's heart skipped a beat. He always had the feeling that Chiba was about to say something crucial. Chiba nodded. That's right. Only with a correct thought can guide people to change the world correctly. What thought, Mr. Snake? Do you want to know? Orochimaru nodded with a smile. Appreciate further details. Chiba didn't say anything, just took out one of his notebooks and handed it to Orochimaru. Orochimaru took a look. My view of Marxism. I have some superficial understanding of this kind of thought. This kind of thinking originated from some great people I read and studied since I was a child. And I learned about history, humanities, travel notes, and politics. Combine this kind of thought with the locality of this world. It's a pity that I couldn't witness it with my own eyes. If I have the opportunity, I would like to travel around the world and perfect this idea. At this moment, Orochimaru felt that Chiba was sick. Moreover, he was seriously ill. At the same time, it's crazy, and it's so crazy that it's justified. However, as a confidant who understands each other, Orochimaru accidentally put away the notes. I'll watch. Chiba nodded. Thank you. Mr. Snake, I hope the next time you and I meet, I can call you comrade. Chapter 21 Comfortable Days Won't Last Long. Where's Master Orochimaru? After a while, Shizen came out with brewed tea. However, I only saw Chiba sitting there writing and drawing, and Orochimaru had disappeared. He's gone, Chiba said. Shizen was a little suspicious. Strange, isn't he going to wait for Master Tsunade to come back? I said, maybe he didn't come to find Tsunade. Shizen didn't care and handed Chiba a cup of brewed tea. After taking it, Chiba took a sip. At this moment, looking at Chiba's appearance, Shizen couldn't help asking, Chiba, you seem very happy. Did you talk to Orochimaru-sama just now? Talked a lot. Chiba said with a smile. And I'm really happy, because I planted the seeds of thought. Now just wait for it to germinate. I'm very optimistic about Comrade Orochimaru, because I think he's also a thoughtful person. Comrade Orochimaru? Strange title. Shizen muttered. She felt very strange. Obviously she is older than Chiba, but it feels like Chiba is like an adult and she's like a child. However, sometimes Chiba is very childish. Especially when I was in school, I went home to complain. Perhaps this is a genius. Shizen sighed. On the other hand, Orochimaru walked out of Tsunade's house in a daze with the notebook given by Chiba in his hand. He talked a lot with Chiba, as if he got something, and he didn't seem to get anything. Suddenly, Orochimaru, he reacted. This time I went to Tsunade's house, and he observed Chiba as an experimental subject, because Chiba's body hides Senju's secrets and has a breakthrough for him to break through the research of immortality. However, the results seemed to be led into a ditch by Chiba. Looking at the notes in his hand, Orochimaru suddenly felt dumbfounded. Strange boy, thoughts, change the world. It was a path Orochimaru had never envisioned, though Orochimaru has just been misled by Chiba. However, in retrospect, Chiba's idea is very bold. Change the world. Perhaps the former Orochimaru also had this passionate ideal. However, the cruel reality beat him to pieces. In the end, Orochimaru realized that it is not easy to not be changed by the world, let alone change the world. At this point, Orochimaru felt that he was almost awake and then opened the notes given by Chiba with the mentality of casually reading. The premise of changing the world is to know the world. Before that, we need to figure out a question. What is the world, that is? What is the origin of this world? The appearance of Tsunade caused both Sarutobi Hiruzen and Danzo a dark loss. Chiba felt that he could be clean for a while. After this incident, in the eyes of Sarutobi Hiruzen, the image of Chiba, an arrogant and domineering brat who likes to sue, has stood up. Sarutobi Hiruzen has a mask. Well, Chiba has it too. At least, with such a mask, Sarutobi Hiruzen can see that Konoha is very peaceful, and the only remaining Senju is not a threat. Otherwise, Chiba will have such a big aura of Senju, it will be difficult not to be noticed. Mr. Chiba, did you really go back and sue? This really doesn't fit Itachi's understanding of Chiba. Even this matter can still spread. After Tsunade came back, she told Chiba that she punched Danzo, and Danzo didn't dare fart. Sarutobi Hiruzen also kept silent. Chiba didn't expect that such a disgraceful thing could still spread. It's not spreading. When something happened in the Hokage building, it happened to be seen by the guards of my family. I heard Master Danzo almost flew down from upstairs. Master Tsunade is so fierce. Even Hokage's assistant dares to fight. Hearing this, Chiba shook his head. If you knew what he did, you wouldn't think so. Itachi wanted to ask, but Chiba didn't wait for him to ask. Practice. Comfortable days, not too long. Counting the time, the Third Ninja War is almost over. When Namake's Minato becomes the fourth Hokage, the Nine Tails Rebellion will come. That was the final straw for Uchiha. The war will end soon. When the time comes, it's Hokage's election. Hearing this, Itachi froze for a moment. Is the fourth Hokage going to be elected? Certainly. Chiba nodded. Third generation is getting old. No one wants to see the shadow of a village being taken over by an old man, especially the Land of Fire. Why do you say that? Because that will only make people feel that Konoha is green and yellow, so a newcomer is needed to take over. But in fact, Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't want to give way. However, the form forced him to do so. So, he needs a manipulative shadow to listen to politics behind the curtain. Your father should also be one of the candidates. This surprised Itachi a little. My father, Chiba nodded. That's right, the patriarch of the Uchiha clan, the captain of the guard, the main force against the fog. Identity, merit, strength, he has them all. Unfortunately, if I were your father, I would voluntarily withdraw from the election. For a moment, Itachi froze. He didn't understand why Chiba would say such a thing. Why? Just because his surname is Uchiha. Of course, Chiba wouldn't say that directly. He just calmly raised his hand and pointed to the sky. Because there's a mountain pressing down on this Konoha. This sentence has a lot of meaning. Itachi looked up and looked at Konoha's sky. It was clear and clear, with no clouds in the sky. However, at this moment, in his eyes, there seemed to be a haze that could not be dispelled. Chapter 22, Give Up the Hokage Campaign. The short turmoil passed. Next, a peaceful period ushered in Konoha. However, this peace, in Chiba's view, is like the calm before the storm. A week later, good news came from the Konoha front. The battle between Konoha and Rock Shinobi ended with Konoha's victory. At the same time, Kirigage and Cloud Shinobi retreated at the same time, and the front line ushered in a short respite. On this day, the whole Konoha was spent amidst laughter. However, few people know that Konoha's victory this time is based on the sacrifice of an unknown Uchiha boy. Kirigage's retreat caused many Uchiha clan members on the front line to return to the village to recuperate. At this moment, within the Uchiha clan that retreated from the front line gathered together to celebrate the victory within the clan. Rock Shinobi has already lost. Fog Shadow has been repelled by us. It is impossible for Cloud Shinobi to fight us to the end. It can be said that this ninja war is coming to an end. Our Uchiha clan can be said to have perfectly completed the task assigned by Hokage. In the conference room, Fugaku was very happy to stand in his place, speaking congratulatory words. By the way, Chief Fugaku, where's Uchiha Shursui? Below, someone asked. Yes, that's right. Where did that kid Shursui go? He was very active on the front line. He also played the name Shursui. Uchiha's sense of family honor has always been strong. Now that there's a person in my clan who is famous in the ninja world, he is naturally very happy and wants to congratulate him. As a result, everyone searched, but Shursui could not be found anywhere. He is one of the protagonists. Seeing this, Fugaku hesitated for a moment and said in a deep voice, Shursui went to meet Lord 3rd Hokage. Presumably, he should be asking for credit for our Uchiha clan. Hearing this, all the Uchiha below laughed. Ha ha ha, this kid is pretty fast. It is true that we should ask for credit. Also, I heard that the Battle of Canopy Bridge where Rock Shinobi was defeated also included our little guy from Uchiha, but he seems to have died. He is not only our Uchiha's hero, but also Konoha's hero. Seeing the excitement of my own people, Fugaku had no choice but to laugh dryly. Well, at the celebration banquet, amidst the laughter, Fugaku could only sigh alone. He had heard about Uchiha Bido. Sacrifice for Konoha's victory. He is indeed a hero, and he is also Konoha's hero. Unfortunately, there's a high probability that this hero will be unknown in the end and will be buried in history. As for Uchiha Shursui, Fugaku could tell that after he joined Umbu, his elbows turned out a bit. In this ninja war, Sarutobi Hiruzen sent their Uchiha clan to the less stressful fog field, and Fugaku knew the result. It stands to reason that Uchiha family Sharingan's pervert dynamic vision is the most suitable for dealing with Cloud Shinobi's high-speed ninjutsu. However, Sarutobi Hiruzen pushed the Hyuga clan to the top. Great master! Fugaku sighed inwardly. Is the 4th Hokage going to campaign? Orochimaru was frozen. Uchiha went to fight the frontier battle, let Namake's Minato atop the most pressured Rock Shinobi front. Fugaku can see that Sarutobi Hiruzen is going to push Namake's Minato to the top. Thinking of this, Fugaku took advantage of his joy and then said, By the way, I have one more thing to announce. I got the news that Konoha will choose the 4th Hokage after this war is over. Once he said this, the audience below Uchiha was in an uproar. Huh? 4th Hokage, Master 3rd Generation, is about to abdicate. Counting his age, Master 3rd Generation is indeed old. Clan Chief Fugaku, don't worry. Our Uchiha clan will definitely recommend you. Our Uchiha clan, are we going to produce a Hokage? Uchiha below, getting more and more excited as he talked. Seeing this, Fugaku hastily interrupted them and said, I didn't mean to say that. For the 4th Hokage election, I will not participate. Even if there's a place I will automatically give up. Ah, what? The Fugaku patriarch? How come? Why give up? According to merit, our Uchiha clan is fully capable of competing for a fourth Hokage. Yes, we repelled the fog. Rock Shinobi was defeated, and our Uchiha tribe participated, and Lord Orochimaru did not go to the battlefield. Although Namake's Minato is in the limelight now. After all, his qualifications are not as high as yours. Born a commoner. Okay, be quiet, be quiet. Fugaku quickly raised his hand to stop the commotion below, and then explained. I am already the chief of Uchiha, and at the same time the captain of the guard. I have already held several positions, and I have no intention of being Hokage. In this third Ninja World War, the most difficult and bitter battlefield is in Rock Shinobi, and the bone of Rock Shinobi was gnawed by Namake's Minato. Furthermore, Namake's Minato is a commoner ninja, and our Uchiha clan goes up to compete with him, which will inevitably cause gossip. So, just support Namake's Minato with all your strength this time. What? Below, a group of Uchiha suddenly became unhappy. Most of the wine in the celebration banquet was sober. Patriarch, what are you talking about? We speak based on merit and strength. How can we use Uchiha's name to suppress people? I'll see who dares to gossip. The people below became more and more excited, and the scene began to get a little out of control. Seeing this, Fugaku immediately roared. Okay, I've already decided on this matter, and it's over. There's no need to discuss it. After speaking, Uchiha Fugaku walked away. Leaving behind, Uchiha's ninjas looked at each other. As a patriarch, you must know how to judge the situation. Hokage's position clearly has nothing to do with Uchiha. If he takes the initiative to get up, it will only be used to suppress him. How many years have been here? Uchiha has been able to survive so far because he knows how to look at the general trend. The former Senju didn't understand these things, so in the end, he went to destruction. Uchiha Fugaku didn't want the Uchiha clan to fall into his hands. Chapter 23, I am seeing through the essence of the world. You haven't performed an experiment in a while. Root Headquarters Base, Orochimaru's laboratory. Danzo can take the blame, but some things, once done, cannot be stopped. Senju's power, with Styles' power, Danzo can't just let it go. He is old. Chakra began to weaken. Only Senju's power can bring him back to glory. So, Orochimaru's research is one of his hopes. However, he found that during this period, Orochimaru became more and more lazy. Before Orochimaru did the experiment, he couldn't understand it and felt that Orochimaru was perfunctory himself. However, Orochimaru was not even perfunctory about this fact, as if he had lost interest in the experiment. What are you doing? Orochimaru. Read a book. Orochimaru was not interested in Danzo's arrival. Instead, he was reading with a broken notebook in his hand all day long. Reading? Don't fix these useless things. There are two things. First, when will you finish the wood-style experiment? Orochimaru spoke without looking back. Haven't you been beaten enough by Tsunade? How dare you touch wood style? Hearing this, Danzo snorted coldly. Thinking of being humiliated by Tsunade last time, Danzo became angry. However, he did not dare to take revenge on Tsunade and Chiba. After all, now that Tsunade is alone and has PD'd her off, Tsunade might actually kill him. Tsunade is angry because of the remains of the first generation. According to the current research, the remains of the first generation are no longer needed. I see. The experiment, I will continue. If there is nothing wrong, please go back. Orochimaru's attention was not on Danzo at all. He just glanced at Danzo with a cold stare. Boring person. He has ambitions, but he doesn't have the action power to match his ambitions. This is what Orochimaru said about Danzo. Right now, Orochimaru sees things more clearly. There are other things. Second, in the near future, something will happen to Konoha. You still have a chance in that position. I will support you. That location? Orochimaru froze for a moment, finally put down the note in his hand, and looked at Danzo. That look, as if looking at a fool. Danzo, you could be really funny sometimes. Orochimaru sneered, and in his words, there was indescribable ridicule and disdain for this root leader. Do you think I, Orochimaru, will be Sarutobi Sensei's puppet? Because I don't know how to do it. Mr. Sarutobi abandoned me. Orochimaru sees far better than Danzo. Hearing this, Danzo frowned. After not seeing him for a while, he felt that Orochimaru had changed. What had changed, he couldn't say. Some time ago, Orochimaru started an experiment, and it was crazy, like a crazy batch, which made Danzo feel shuddering. However, these 2 days have been quiet again, and I feel that my temperament has changed. Not so cold and crazy anymore. It seems that it has become sunny? Weird thing. Did you take the wrong medicine? Orochimaru. Sarutobi Hiruzen's abdication is certain. The Fire Nation is already under pressure. It's his job to support Namake's Minato. I can unite with other families to put pressure on you, and it doesn't necessarily require his approval to push you to the top. Hee. Orochimaru smiled. Push yourself to the top, and then become Danzo's puppet against Sarutobi Hiruzen? Orochimaru sees more clearly than before. The fundamental law of the development of things is the unity of opposites and contradictions. If you want to develop and evolve, you must see through contradictions, analyze them, and resolve them. Danzo, you can't see through anything at all. The conflict between Danzo and Sarutobi Hiruzen, the conflict between Orochimaru and Sarutobi Hiruzen, is not the same. At this moment, Danzo looked at Orochimaru blankly. Orochimaru, did you take the wrong medicine? What's going on with you recently? Did the experiment ruin your brain? Orochimaru shook his head. No, I just had an idea. I am seeing through the essence of the world. At this moment, Danzo felt a little hairy being stared at by Orochimaru. Something is wrong. This is not right. Although the crazy Orochimaru before was scary, but now the Orochimaru who speaks words with unknown meaning is even more chilling. What thoughts? Marx. Chiba-kun, you guessed it right. My father did quit the 4th Hokage campaign. Itachi was very surprised when he heard the news, but he was not as surprised as he imagined. Yes, all of this seems to be seen through by his friends. Itachi has an inexplicable feeling. Obviously, he is Chiba's best friend, but he has a tacit understanding with his father. It's not guessing, it's the general trend. Explain, your father, as the head of the clan, is very wise. It's just that it lacks some decisiveness. Chiba smiled. This sentence is somewhat meaningful. Regular daily training. Itachi could clearly feel that Chiba's physique was becoming more and more domineering, changing every day. Although his physical fitness has risen in a straight line after practicing the body training method, the gap has not narrowed. Meanwhile, Chiba has a new workout today. He took out a long and thin needle, stepped on it, and then stepped up towards the water. There were waves of ripples on the calm water. A needle, just standing on the water, supported Chiba's body weight. Monster! Finally, Itachi couldn't help but exclaimed. This is treading water training for manipulating chakra. Very basic, but very effective. By releasing a certain amount of chakra on the soles of the feet, it is possible for people to walk on the water and adsorb to the wall. But there is only one needle under Chiba's feet. What a terrifying amount of chakra control is required to achieve this level. This is my latest achievement. Saying that, Chiba threw out a scroll. Senju clan chakra control law change. Monster of monsters. Itachi couldn't help but exclaimed. A monster? This is just the beginning. Chiba swallowed his breath, and chakra's micromanipulation allowed him to fully feel the natural energy in the air. He feels more and more in harmony with the environment. This shows that his sage body is constantly improving, and he is officially climbing. Mr. Chiba. Suddenly, Itachi spoke. What's wrong? Tomorrow is my mother's birthday. Can you come? Chapter 24 Challenger. Chiba waited a long time for an invitation from Uchiha, but never had a chance. After all, when he was able to come out and move, the war had already begun. There are always vacancies in Uchiha who can speak. I just didn't expect it to be at this juncture. Uchiha had just returned from victory at the Fog Front and immediately invited Senju's future patriarch as a guest. With Sarutobi Hiruzen's astuteness, he'd definitely pay attention. However, this invitation Chiba cannot refuse, and there is no reason to refuse. I'll be there. As your friend, Itachi seemed very happy to get a positive answer. After all, Chiba was his first and only friend. In the next training, he worked a lot. At this moment, Chiba caressed the scroll in his hand with a smile on his face. Since you're going to be a guest, it is natural to give a meeting gift. This gift is very suitable. And at this moment, Chiba and Itachi frowned at the same time. He looked at the big tree in the distance. The breeze blew, and a strand of purple hair floated out. It was discovered. Behind the big tree, someone spoke. It's okay. I didn't intend to hide it. Another voice sounded. Immediately afterwards, the two came out from behind the tree. Those were two girls, Yuehong and Yuzuki Shien. Peeping is not a good habit. Chiba spoke calmly. Yuehong looked at Chiba with complicated eyes. After enrolling, Chiba is still very popular in school. While being pursued by most of the girls in the school, staring at Asuma is a daily routine. Still very arrogant and domineering, Asuma is almost in shadow. It wasn't until she found Itachi and Chiba's bodies disappeared with a bang that she didn't know that the two at school had always been shadow clone. Evening Red was a little sad. She thought that Chiba was interested in her, which made her a little excited, but it turned out that he was not interested in her at all. Uncomfortable, seeing Chiba himself now, he looks a little evasive. Not me. I came with her, Sunset Red explained. His eyes fell on Yui Shien. So what? I want to challenge you. Amazing brave girl. After seeing Asuma being directly crushed by Chiba's chakra last time, he can still come to challenge. There was a sound of brushing. She drew her knife. Yuzuki Shien, please enlighten me. The wind blows quietly. The scene fell into a silence, a little awkward. Did not answer her. Oncoming, only two calm eyes. Itachi's eyes were even a little gloating. Any questions? What is there to gloat about? You are very brave and very conscious. I respect you. Chiba smiled and said, I accept your challenge. Then, Chiba took a breath. The next moment, it seemed to be waiting for the arrival of the wind. Boom! Chakra released suddenly, just for a moment. The expressions of Yuzuki Shien and Yuehong next to her changed drastically. The heavy chakra rolled towards the two of them like a mountain. Yuzuki Shien was stunned. At this moment, she looked at Chiba as if she was looking at a wild beast. In the blink of an eye, her courage was uprooted. There was a snap. The knife in his hand fell to the ground. She can't move. The body is trembling. Seeing this, Chiba took back chakra. Mr. Chiba, at least you must know how to be sympathetic and cherish the jade. Next to it, Itachi sighed. He didn't know where the courage of the girl in front of him came from. Obviously, Chiba showed his strength on the first day of school. No, perhaps because of the demonstration, after a practical training period, she felt that she could challenge Chiba. But what the girl didn't expect was that while she was making progress, Chiba was also making progress. Moreover, the speed far exceeded her imagination. The current Chiba and the Chiba when I entered school are completely different concepts. Yuehong was helpless. She was just the one who came to accompany her, but in the end she got hurt by Chiyu. The impact of this chakra hits the soul. It's a complete crush. During the Chunin exam in the original book, Orochimaru easily used chakra to frighten Sasuke, Naruto, and little Sakura. The same reason. What's more, with the amount of chakra in Chiba in front of him, it may be more than Orochimaru at that time, but it's not so cold. Itachi looked at the two worriedly, but Chiba didn't turn his head and open his mouth. Practice. Don't you care about them? Let them recover on their own. Chiba said, since you are here to challenge me, it means you want to become stronger. If you carry it over, there will be a breakthrough. The two continued to practice, and Yuehong and Yuzuki Shien stood there blankly. I don't know how long it took, but the trembling of their bodies slowed down a lot. Their consciousness gradually became clear. It's just that the eyes are a little confused and dull. Seeing got hit. Finally, it was late at night. The wind became bitter. The recovery of their eyes made them realize that time seemed to have passed for a long time. A little cold, I don't know if it's instinct or something else. The two leaned against the big tree and rubbed their hands together. Then, it looks like he's fully awake. It's just that your hands are a little cold. Have you caught a cold? Chiba grabbed the hands of the two girls and breathed a sigh of relief, making them feel a lot warmer. Chiba's hands are not big, but they are full of security. The two reacted immediately. The night sky, the bonfire in the distance, and the boy in front of him. There is an inexplicable throbbing. Are you hungry? Do you want some food? By the creek. The ferret was sitting by the fire with a venison roasting on it. The two girls rubbed their bellies. Cuckoo. The two couldn't help but blushed and nodded without disappointment. Please. Chapter 25, Orochimaru. Betray Konoha with me. It is obviously just a simple barbecue, and the seasoning is also very limited. However, the two girls, Yuehong and Yuzuki Shien, completely disregarded their usual image and began to gobble it up. Neither of them thought about it. The first time I ate alone with a boy, it was actually a barbecue in the wild. It looks like I'm really hungry. Itachi opened his mouth, very surprised. Didn't you say that girls are very reserved? Why can't he feel it at all? After a long time, the two were finally full, and at the same time, the baking of the bonfire also warmed up their bodies. Then, it was only then that he realized what a gaffe he had just been. The two looked down at Chiba and Itachi like children who have done something wrong, and couldn't help but speak. I made you laugh. To this, Chiba just smiled. It's okay. I hope you don't catch a cold tomorrow. The two looked at the sky, only to realize that it was very late. Sorry, I asked you to stay here to make a bonfire. The faces of the two turned red, very embarrassed. Chiba waved his hand. Nothing. After all, you are intimidated by my chakra. After finishing speaking, Chiba reached out, touched the faces and foreheads of the two, touched the palms of the two, and nodded in confirmation. It's not so cold anymore. It looks like it's fully recovered. I'll take you back home. At this moment, the Itachi next to him who saw this scene was stunned. The heart is crying. God, Chiba-kun, how did you manage to touch girls' faces and hands so naturally? So natural that they didn't even realize it? Ninjas have 3 prohibitions. Itachi reminded softly. Hearing this, Chiba showed an inexplicable smile. Then he pointed to the distance. Itachi, tell me, what is that? Looking in the direction of Chiba's eyes, there is a small head sticking out beside the path. Iconic big eyes, cute little face. A maiden named Uchiha Izumi. Ah, Itachi blushed, hurried over and said, Koizumi, why are you here? I see you haven't come home. So come out and have a look. Are you okay, Itachi? I'm fine. The always mature Itachi seldom falters. Koizumi looked at the bonfire in the distance. She knows Chiba, but the other two, who are they? This has nothing to do with Itachi. Chiba jumped out and smiled. The two of them came to fight with me. They lost. You take Itachi back, I'll send them back. Hearing this, Yuehong and Yuzuki Iin looked at Chiba in horror. What do you mean I came to fight with you? That's the challenger. Itachi in the distance glanced at Chiba, then nodded. Good. Saying that, he and Uchiha Izumi disappeared into the night. Seeing this, Chiba let out a sigh of relief and looked at Yuehong and Yuzuki Iin. Let's go take you home. After speaking, Chiba took the hands of the two of them and was about to leave. Yuehong and Yuzuki Shien were still in a mess in the wind. Strangeness. Really strange. Yuzuki Shien even forgot what she was here for. As for Yuehong, she is in a state of where am I, who am I, and what am I going to do? However, under the radiance of the bright moonlight, Chiba's silver hair is even more mysterious. Handsome is really handsome. Only, seeing him holding the hands of the two girls felt a little weird. Immediately afterwards, Chiba stopped suddenly. Both girls froze for a moment. What's wrong? Chiba scratched his head in embarrassment. Speak. Where is your home? Sudden, the pupils of the two girls shook. There is an indescribable sense of shock. Pooh, scumbag. I don't know where our house is, and you still walk around holding hands? I remember you. Yuzuki Shien gritted her teeth. Next time I won't lose. Leaving a harsh word, she ran away in a hurry. By the way, Yuehong was also taken away. However, Yuehong looked at Chiba, who was getting further and further away, and felt a little bit reluctant. Don't pull me when you're gone. Looking at the two, Chiba sighed. I really don't know. Chiba doesn't really want to be this kind of gentleman. Only, Konoha during this time period is not safe. He's not sure he can win Orochimaru over. What if he is still doing experiments frantically? At night, Orochimaru may catch the test subject. Then, Mr. Chiba, I didn't expect that you would be interested in women too. Chiba sighed. Say chow chow. Chow chow will arrive. Sure enough, it is always right to be on guard. A figure appeared behind Chiba. Please close your eyes when it gets dark, and be careful, Orochimaru. Meet you again, Mr. Snake. Chiba turned his head back, with a smile on his face. Facing this dangerous Konoha Sannin in the dark night, he looked extremely calm. I don't know, is my note helpful to you? I admire you, Orochimaru spoke. In fact, since the last conversation, he didn't treat Chiba like a normal boy. He even felt that genius was not enough to describe him. This does not refer to the aspect of cultivation, and it is the thought that Chiba is referring to. You influence me with a brand new idea, whether it's for my values or experiments. Hearing this, Chiba nodded. Thank you for the compliment. However, this is not entirely due to my subordinates. It is precisely because you can think, Mr. Snake, that you can have thoughts. So, I don't know. What's your purpose in coming to me today? Betray Konoha with me. Orochimaru spoke calmly. In the eyes, there was no madness and killing anger before, but it became peaceful. However, Chiba was dumbfounded when he heard this. Chiba, this Konoha cannot accommodate you. To die here is a loss to the world. Chiba, Chapter 26, A single spark can start a prairie fire. Orochimaru's words just made Chiba amused. He spread Marxism to Orochimaru, but in exchange for an answer of sentence with Konoha. Although the result is somewhat unsatisfactory, it is still a good sign. Orochimaru has certainly made a difference, to say the least. He did not continue to cling to his cruel experiments. At the same time, it can also be seen that Orochimaru himself is actually a victim of the war, and if conditions permit, he himself does not want to become so paranoid. Death and war, betrayal and suspicion, powerlessness and despair can break anyone, and Orochimaru is one of them. Mr. Snake, why did you make such a decision? Chiba want to know why. I have carefully studied your Marxist view. The thoughts contained in it are very constructive and progressive. I don't want to admit it, but it affected me. At the same time, it also changed my view of this world and this era. However, as you said before, this idea is not perfect at the moment. Theory needs to be combined with practice. These ideas and theories are great. If they can be published and spread, maybe they can really change the world. However, I think in Konoha, you can't finish it. I don't want to see him stillborn. So leave Konoha with me. I, Orochimaru, will take you to travel the world, let you perfect your thoughts, and strengthen your theory. At the same time, I also want to know what it looks like after it is perfected. Hearing this, Chiba breathed a sigh of relief. The reason Orochimaru gave was much better than he imagined. Although Orochimaru is still a little paranoid, it is much better than Chiba's perception of him before. Mr. Snake, do you think I will die in Konoha? Orochimaru nodded. That's right. I investigated you. At school, your image and what you showed in front of me are completely two people. I can understand that you're making a show for Sarutobi Hiruzen. Since then, I guess once the incident happens, what you do will definitely be obstructed or even killed by Sarutobi Hiruzen. What do you want to do? Tear down Konoha's mountain. Chiba looked at Orochimaru, spoke calmly, and stated his purpose. In order to maintain his own rule and rights, he has repeatedly retreated from external threats, but suppressed and killed internal development. Hypocritical and conservative Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen. For the sake of superiority, you can do whatever you can. Unite the inside and outside of the village. Shoulder the dark side of Konoha. The dark and radical Hokage assistant Shimuradans. Walking between the two sides without any claims of their own. Holding power, but doing nothing. Bureaucratic and formal Mito Kado Hamura and Uchiha Konoha. And the forces behind them represented by the three parties. Their existence has deeply hindered the development of the entire Konoha. This sentence is not just talking. Throughout Konoha's history, the blood and crime behind their tripartite forces are too numerous to write down. Orochimaru was not surprised when he heard this, but licked his tongue and laughed. Really, a good guess with me. That's why I said you will die in Konoha. Konoha's water is deeper than you imagined. You can't beat them. So what? Chiba asked back. Betraying Konoha. Will the problem be solved? Defect? What is defection? The entire Konoha was established by me, the Senju clan and the Uchiha clan, together with other ninja clans. This is our root and soul. We have lived on this land for generations. Ideology needs to be combined with local culture and national conditions. No innovation is easy. No innovation is fully prepared. The ninja village system is the road that was explored blindfolded at the beginning. Right now, we also need to cross the river by feeling the stones. If there are no conditions, create conditions. If the enemy is strong, we will unite what we can unite. I believe that a single spark can start a prairie fire. Hearing this, Orochimaru froze. One sentence, a single spark can start a prairie fire, made Orochimaru feel a different kind of momentum. And Mr. Snake, why do you think we can't beat Sarutobi Hiruzen? Obviously, you made the mistake of idealist empiricism. Based on your own experience in Konoha, you came to a conclusion after being suppressed by Sarutobi Hiruzen. Marxism emphasizes materialism, even more dialectical materialism. It is the theory of active reflection. You confuse the concepts of practice and knowledge. Really? Suddenly, Orochimaru blinked, the way students who can't answer the question generally. After thinking for a moment, he nodded thoughtfully. Been taught a lesson on the issue of understanding. We must also adhere to materialism. I was the one who was abrupt. At this moment, Orochimaru looked at Chiba, and his eyes changed again. Before that, he had made up his mind and even planned to forcibly take Chiba away. In the end, he was convinced by Chiba. This shows that his ideological study is not enough, and he is still making mistakes. Then, right now, Chiba-kun, what are you going to do? Right now, in the center of Konoha, the enemy's power is unprecedentedly strong, and under the influence of will of fire, he maintains his hypocritical rule. So, we need to unite all the forces we can. Like, Orochimaru came interested and listened carefully. In this Konoha, who is the most oppressed, the most frustrated and suppressed? In an instant, the answer was ready in Orochimaru's mind. Uchiha. Tomorrow, I will visit the Uchiha clan. Orochimaru was agitated inside. I feel that I am fulfilling my ambition during the passionate period. What about me? You have no conflict of interest with Konoha's senior management, and they won't guard against you, so you want me to be a spy? Orochimaru gave Chiba a squinting look and couldn't help frowning. No, it's called underground work. Comrade Orochimaru, Chapter 27, Suspicion and Action. The Uchiha clan. Now Konoha deserves to be the largest clan and also the strongest clan. Its blood successor limitation Sharingan is well known all over the world, which is the momentum that came out of the Sengoku period. In the beginning, if someone hired Uchiha, then the enemy must hire Senju, because only Senju can fight Uchiha. So, although from a sensory point of view, Senju seems to be a blood feud with Uchiha. Actually not. This time, Chiba was invited to the Uchiha tribe, which was also the first time. From Chiba's point of view, this is not so much the Uchiha clan, but rather the Uchiha autonomous region. The land is divided autonomously, and at the same time, Uchiha has little communication with the outside world. The name is to maintain the law enforcement force of the Uchiha Guard. But in fact, it is just an isolated means, and the Guard is not a good job, because the Guards and Umbu have highly overlapping functions and are not as good as Umbu. Often, Umbu will be able to take people away as soon as the Guards catch them. It was the Guards who offended people, and Umbu's side was the one who was so sophisticated. And Uchiha has always had a sense of family honor. This leads to a sense of splitting in Uchiha and the entire Konoha. This is the evil fruit sown by second Hokage, Senju Tobirama. It can't be washed off. As his descendant, Chiba did not intend to refute anything. This matter, second Hokage did really stink. It is obvious that they are jointly building a village, but they are guarded everywhere on their side. The reason is that Uchiha is more emotional and more likely to lose control. Chiba can only hee. During the Sengoku chaos, everyone had countless blood on their hands. Big brother don't talk about second brother. Anyone whose family is killed will go crazy. It's just that if Uchiha is crazy, he will gain great power. But the question is, if there is peace, why go to provoke others? The cart before the horse. At the same time, as far as Chiba sees and feels, Uchiha does not have a kind of indifference of strangers do not enter as outsiders see. On the contrary, in the Uchiha street with a strong atmosphere of life, they are very enthusiastic with each other. Chiba with silver hair looks like a foreigner at first glance. When I came to the street, I was greeted warmly, making Chiba walk all the way and responding patronizingly. Chiba going this way. At the end of the street corner, Itachi waved to Chiba with a smile on his face. Under Itachi's leadership, Chiba came to the patriarch's house. Today's Uchiha has a different kind of excitement. That's right, with the victory in the Fog Shadow battlefield and the birthday of the patriarch's wife. Many people came to congratulate him. However, if it wasn't for Fugaku's withdrawal from the Hokage race and giving the Uchiha clan the right to support Namikaze's Minato supported by Sarutobi Hiruzen, Chiba didn't think Fugaku would make such a fuss for his wife at this juncture. I can't hold my head up. Chiba sighed, not to mention this side. Hokage building. Danzo's injuries are almost healed. At this moment, Zheng Shenlong and Sarutobi Hiruzen are slapping the table vigorously. Hiruzen, this kid Chiba has gone to the Uchiha clan. The others won't say. What is his identity? That is the future Senju patriarch. Danzo's excitement made Sarutobi Hiruzen frown. Danzo, calm down. Calm. Danzo sneered. You forgot how this Konoha came from, right? Let me tell you this. Let Senju and Uchiha go on like this. Nothing good will happen. Hearing this, Sarutobi Hiruzen took a deep breath of the cigarette, exhaled it slowly, and frowned. You are too sharp. The two of them are only 6 years old, and they are just children. I know that. Danzo looked displeased. Boy Chiba and Uchiha Itachi use Shadow Clone to deal with ninja school all day long. God knows where they're doing all the time. I have observed it several times. They were training themselves, and Chiba's behavior was different from school. Hearing this, Sarutobi Hiruzen immediately gave Danzo a look. Danzo, you still don't give up on Chiba, do you? Are you willing to provoke Tsunade completely? I didn't do anything to him. It was observed before Tsunade. Anyway, I don't think this kid is right. Hearing this, Sarutobi Hiruzen frowned even tighter. Danzo is really aggressive. This is true whether it is an attitude or some behavior. If there is any disturbance, there will be a lot of fuss. However, Sarutobi Hiruzen did benefit from Danzo's aggressiveness so far. But thinking about it carefully, it's not impossible. He didn't think two 6-year-olds could do anything together. However, the things that Shadow Clone fooled at school do need attention. Hiruzen, if you want me to say, you recruit Chiba into your umbu yourself, put Itachi into my root department, and cultivate each other separately. Danzo didn't finish his sentence. Sarutobi Hiruzen glared at him. You're still talking this shit, aren't you? Danzo, you are too aggressive. Observe first. Hiruzen, you are too conservative. Sooner or later you will suffer a lot. Danzo gave Sarutobi Hiruzen a cold look. The last time he was beaten by Tsunade, he was very upset. He felt that there was something wrong with both Tsunade and that Chiba. Now Senju is still messing with Uchiha. Not sure what to expect, but in Danzo's view, it's not going to be a good thing. If it's not a good sign, it should be killed as soon as possible, and it doesn't matter if the means are radical. Snort. Danzo was very dissatisfied with Sarutobi Hiruzen's hesitation in his heart. If he was Hokage, he would have interfered by now. At this moment, Sarutobi Hiruzen suddenly spoke. Come out, accompanied by the sound of Sarutobi Hiruzen falling. A figure knelt on one knee in front of Saratobi Hiruzen. Umbu costume, white cat face mask. Under the mask, there are a pair of scarlet eyes. 3 hook jade. Sharingan. Uchiha sure sway. I want to give you a mission, and while saying this, below the Hokage building, there is a small white snake, calmly sticking out its tongue, and soon disappeared. Chapter 28 Senju Hashirama's 3 Big Mistakes. I wanted to meet you a long time ago. Senju's boy. Chiba's arrival made Fugaku push away the guests who came to congratulate him. Instead, he came to a separate room and had a long talk with Chiba. Sit down. At this moment, Itachi is also beside him. However, seeing his father and his best friend face to face made him a little nervous. After all, as far as he knew, in Konoha's history, Uchiha and Senju had had very little dealings, which wasn't exactly good. So, if there's a conflict between my father and Chiba, being caught in the middle will only keep him for 2 years. You kid, you're still nervous. Itachi's mother was very gentle, brought 2 cups of tea and handed them to her husband, and Chiba, very intellectual. Chiba responded with a smile. Uchiha Makoto also nodded with a smile and then left. Chiba, Itachi has taken care of you a lot. Thank you. Others aside, Chiba gave Itachi the body training method, which made Itachi's body and chakra undergo a shocking transformation. If the current Itachi doesn't have Sharingan, it's more like going the way of Senju. Chiba took a sip of tea and said with a smile, "No, I'm just doing what a friend should do. I want to help him." Hearing this, Fugaku raised his eyebrows. Help him? How? As a friend, I know him. And as his father, you should know him too. Leave him alone. Just enter Konoha's ninja school. What will happen? Have you considered? Hearing this, the Itachi next to him froze for a moment. Why did he suddenly mention himself? Hearing this, Fugaku was silent for a moment, looking at Chiba in amazement. At this moment, he was sure. It is the honor of his life for his son to become a close friend with Chiba. Thinking of this, Fugaku suddenly looked at his son and said, Itachi, please maintain your friendship with him. Hearing this, Itachi's little face turned red, a little embarrassed. Father, what are you talking about? Fugaku laughed teasingly, then changed the subject and looked at Chiba. I just respect Itachi's choice. Hearing this, Chiba just shook his head. No, you didn't give him an option at all. So, I not only want to help him, but I also want to help you. I'm helping myself. The sudden mention of himself made Fugaku unavoidably surprised. Looking at the overmature boy who was about the same age as his son, he couldn't help but speak. Help me. That's right. Chiba nodded. Including Uchiha behind you, this Konoha, and this war-torn world. Backing down again and again will not save Uchiha. As soon as these words came out, it seemed that Fugaku's heartstrings were touched, and his expression became complicated. Uchiha Fugaku, a character full of tragedy. Since taking over the banner of the Uchiha patriarch, he has given up many things for the sake of the clan. His whole life seems to have been spent in retreat. Winning 3 battles, he withdrew from the 4th generation campaign. During the Nine Tails Rebellion, he retreated from the clan land and was forced to isolate himself. On the night of genocide, he had no way to retreat and died under his own parents and children. Yeah, backing down again and again won't save Uchiha. When I became the patriarch, I knew it. Fugaku's words were a little erratic, as if recalling the past. Then you say, what can save Uchiha? Change the world. Chiba spoke loudly. He expressed his thoughts again. The Itachi next to him was very surprised, because Chiba remains the same and never changes. Change the world? We'd like to hear more about it. Fugaku has a serious expression on his face, listening carefully. Chiba spoke. If you want to change the world, you need to know what the current world is and how it works. The history of Uchiha and Senju, detailed and traced back to the Sengoku period. During the Sengoku period, the ninja clan was divided into separatist regimes. Countries hired ninjas to plunder resources, and the world was in chaos. At that time, Uchiha and Senju will join hands to establish Konoha for peace and make a treaty with the Land of Fire, and the world will usher in a short-lived peace. The time has come to modern times. The Ninja World War has broken out for the third time. The village building strategy seems to be a peaceful path, but in fact there is no essential difference from the Sengoku chaos period. It's just that the hired ninjas of various countries have been replaced by military ninja villages provided by each country. There is no doubt that Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara's approach to peace failed. They failed to change the world. In an instant, Fugaku's expression changed. He looked at Chiba, very surprised, and couldn't help but speak. Chiba, are you denying Senju Hashirama, the ninja god? After all, that's Senju Hashirama. Even in this era, few people dare to deny the ceiling of the ninja world. That's right. Although Senju Hashirama is dubbed the title of god of ninjas, he is not a god. He is a human being, and as a human being, he will make mistakes and fail. The failure of Senju Hashirama is mainly due to the three major mistakes. Hearing this, Fugaku was even more shocked. Good guy, as its descendants, not only directly deny Senju Hashirama, but also point out three major mistakes. Senju, future patriarch, are you serious? The first big mistake, the strategy of building a village, is one of the paths to pursue peace. Unfortunately, he shouldn't be attached to the Fire Nation and be stuck economically. The second biggest mistake is that after the establishment of the village, although he himself set an example, he allowed the clan to run rampant. As the elder of the village, he allowed his younger brother Senju Tobarama to target the Uchiha clan, which has led to Uchiha being suppressed to this day. The third biggest mistake, village building diplomacy, capturing the nine-tailed beasts and distributing them to the major ninja villages. It is called a check and balance of combat power, but actually fuels the wind of war. Hearing this, Fugaku's mouth grew wide, with an incredible expression on his face. First, he began to look squarely at the only Senju in front of him, the future Senju patriarch. The understanding of this Konoha, and even this world, has a height that is difficult for others to climb. Chapter 29, talking about Konoha and the world pattern, although what Chiba said was very simple and easy to understand. However, throwing them all out at once made Fugaku hard to digest. Even the Itachi next to him fell into deep thought and began to think. He used to think about many issues from the perspective of Konoha's Hokage, but now it seems that it is small, and the pattern is small. Chiba is based on the world stage. So, Chiba, are you saying that it was actually a wrong decision for first Hokage and Uchiha Madara to join forces to establish Shinobi Village? Chiba shook his head. Everything needs to be viewed dialectically. We can't see the thoughts of people decades ago with the eyes of people today. Ninja village strategy was epic-making at the time. Similarly, it also had the limitations of the times. Although it failed to find a real path to peace, it undoubtedly pointed us in a direction. This direction was correct at the beginning, but it went wrong in the end. So, on the basis of our ancestors, we should stand on the shoulders of giants and make this road out. Hearing this, Fugaku looked a little more serious. Instead of underestimating Chiba in front of him, he classifies it as the same height as himself. Yes, himself is the patriarch of Uchiha. The current Senju is the patriarch of the future Senju. Age is not an excuse to underestimate people. Arrogance is. Therefore, Fugaku chose to listen with an open mind. All ears, Chiba smiled and continued. First of all, you need to get rid of the economic shackles from the state. The economic base determines the superstructure. In your opinion, why did the ninja world fight, and what was the reason for the fight? Plunder. Fugaku spoke without hesitation. Chiba nodded. That's right. It's plunder. When the economic base cannot support the superstructure will adopt the most primitive means of violence to plunder the economy, resources, and land. And the so-called ninja village is just a military armed force supported by the superstructure of various countries. So, you will see that those countries and ninja villages will always be the first to provoke the ninja war. For an instant, images flashed through Fugaku's mind. Cloud Shinobi and Rock Shinobi. Chiba smiled. That's right, Cloud Shinobi is located in a valley, and Rock Shinobi is surrounded by rocky mountains. They all have one characteristic: the land resources are scarce. To put it bluntly, they are poor. So, often they will take the lead in initiating wars, and they're the most aggressive and fierce in ninja battles. Especially Cloud Shinobi, who is basically the fighting faction in ninja war. Suddenly, Fugaku was taken aback and asked, "What about Sunagakure? They seem to be the ones who get beaten all the time." Sunagakure is too poor. Born in the desert, land resources, food resources, and water resources are severely lacking. Therefore, the Kingdom of the Wind does not have too many economic resources to cultivate a powerful ninja armed force. The insufficiency of the economy is originally an internal contradiction of low productivity in the country. However, the superstructure has transferred this internal conflict to the outside in the form of armed plunder, and what is shown as chaotic warfare. This is the essence of frequent ninja battles. It is a pity that there are very few people who can analyze this level. How can we seek ways to change the world if we cannot see through the essence and truth of the world? Secondly, vigorously develop the economy. If you want to get rid of the economic shackles of a big country, you need to do it yourself and have enough food and clothing. At the same time, we also need to actively prepare our own military forces. Hearing this, Fugaku suddenly became puzzled and couldn't help asking, "Since we've got rid of the economic shackles of a big country, why do we need to prepare military arms? Is this planting hidden dangers for war?" Chiba sighed. "Mr. Fugaku, not having a sword in your hand and having a sword in your hand are two different concepts. Please don't confuse it. Before the world's ideological level has not improved as a whole, if you fall behind, you will be beaten. If Konoha is strong right now, it'll be dragged into war. What if it declines? With all due respect, I can't imagine the consequences." "Yes." Fugaku reacted. "In terms of hard power, although Konoha is declining day by day, it is still undoubtedly the number one in the ninja world. However, you will still be beaten, and once weakened, the end will be worse than Sunagakure. After all, Sunagakure is too poor to give anything good, even if it is defeated. However, Konoha is sitting on the most abundant land resources in the ninja world. Once defeated, it may be divided up. Then how do you do economic development?" At this point, Fugaku was already acting shocked and impatient. First, there needs to be a natural geographical environment. That is, land resources, which is an eternal necessary condition for human survival and development. Second, population is needed, because only people can convert land resources into cash. The third is the material production method, which is how to realize the land resources. The fastest way is to cultivate land. Therefore, we need to unite farmers who have suffered from war and persecution, give them land, give them blessings, and increase farmers' enthusiasm for production. Secondly, workers are needed. The production of military weapons, kunai, shurikens, ninja tools, detonators. All of these require the labor of workers. So, the establishment of an alliance of workers and peasants is the foundation. Then, intellectuals are needed. The discovery and mining of land minerals, the preparation of gunpowder, the research and development of ninjutsu, and education are inseparable from them. Next, it's military ninja training. There is also business and trade. Building cars behind closed doors is bound to be ridiculous. We need to open up to the outside world and exchange technology and talents with other countries and Ninja Village. Of course, these are all for later. The specific implementation needs to be negotiated in the future. After hearing all this, Fugaku was startled. I was really shocked. He finished listening to Chiba's analysis of the world. There are reasons and evidences that cannot be refuted. It also dissects the deepest causes of the war, and even gives a concrete and factual path, standing on the basis of the ninja village system, crossing the river by feeling the stones, and blazing a special path of peace. Is this really something a 6-year-old child can say? So esoteric and magical. The depth of its perception has nothing to do with age, but with thought. Chiba, I think maybe it's the world's savior. Chapter 30 Before Reform, Revolution First. At this moment, Fugaku has no doubts about Chiba's savior. He has never understood the world so thoroughly at that moment as he does now. People are well aware of the dangers of war, but they don't know the reason. Countless people seek a way for peace, but they cannot find a concrete way. Turn out to be. No one has ever seen through the essence of this world, but Chiba saw it through and explained it so that Fugaku could understand it too. This is great. In response, Chiba just shook his head modestly. I'm not the savior. The people are. One person cannot reverse history. It's the people who can. Because where there are people, there is history. Of course, this is just my humble opinion based on what I have read. It's not perfect, whether it's thoughts or views on the world. The angle of view is relatively single. So, I need the power to unite, combine more practical ideas to improve thinking, awaken the world, and guide the world. People need to save themselves. Putting hope on others is a very stupid thing. At the moment, Fugaku listened intently. Although the ferret next to him was still young, he was also greatly shocked, acting like a sculpture. So, someone needs to change the world. Someone needs to open up a hole to change the world, and I am willing to be this person. Fugaku and Itachi were silent for a long time. After a moment, Fugaku couldn't help clapping. It's really wonderful. People need to save themselves. He looked thoughtfully at Chiba and suggested, I think these things should be written down, written into a book, and spread. As for the book, I have it. With that said, Chiba took out a notebook. This is exactly the same note he gave Orochimaru. My view of Marxism. Mr. Fugaku, if you don't dislike him, you can accept him. When you have nothing to do, you can study it, and you will gain something from the comparison. Fugaku accepted it and flipped through it to read. It records Chiba's views and perceptions of the world. There are more ways to observe and explore the world. The philosophy and principles contained in it cannot be understood in a day or two. Chiba, as a child, your mind has reached heights that I can't even imagine. And as the head of the clan, you have jumped out of the shackles of the clan and broadened your horizons to a wider stage. I'm not as good as you, just to maintain the existence of Uchiha. Fugaku felt like he had given up everything. And in this case, you still have to be careful, for fear of being missed and attracting suppression. Obviously, they defeated the Mist in the 3 battles, and they are heroes. However, he dare not take credit. Uchiha Obito, who died for victory in the Battle of Mingming Janabi Bridge, is a hero and needs to be praised. But all he got was dispensable praise, lest the merits be overshadowed. Fugaku also needs to take the initiative to withdraw from the Hokage campaign after the victory. Very tired. Also very depressing. Chiba, your ideal is magnificent. Fugaku was very general. I don't know if it was a whim or after careful consideration. Fugaku suddenly spoke seriously. If possible, I would like to join. To change the situation of our Uchiha clan and to change the world. Do your part. Fugaku reaches out his hand. Chiba didn't answer. He just looked at Fugaku and said, Mr. Fugaku, I definitely welcome you to join me. However, everything I said just now is actually a reform after the establishment of order and system. And before reform, there needs to be a revolution. Revolution. When it comes to these 2 words, Fugaku suddenly felt that Chiba, who was so elegant and quiet just now, has an indescribable stalwart and haki. This made Fugaku ask, what is a revolution? Overthrow the current backward and corrupt order based on the 3 mountains of Konoha, and establish a scientific and progressive order that can truly lead to peace. Under the new order, let's talk about reform. Otherwise, I will only make wedding dresses for others. 3 great mountains of Konoha. Fugaku thought about it. Itachi next to him looked at his father and said, I know. Fugaku froze for a moment, looking at his son in horror. You know, this Itachi nodded and began to discuss. Dark radicalism represented by roots deep in the earth. Hypocritical conservatism represented by shadows bathed in sunlight. and the bureaucratic formalism that wanders between the sun and the dark, indecisive and ineffective. The moment I heard this, Shimura Dans, Sarutobi Hiruzen, and Mito Kato Hamura and Uchiha Konoha. The names of the four people were about to come out immediately. Fugaku savored it carefully, and then felt that Chiba's description was simply astonishing. Danzo of dark radicalism, Sarutobi Hiruzen of hypocritical conservatism, Mito Kato Hamura and Uchiha Konoha of bureaucratic formalism. Everyone can be seated according to their number. It is their fault. It is their sin. And everything they do is to maintain the rule of Konoha Akira. Suddenly this time, in the corner of the room, suddenly a small white snake crawled out slowly. It meandered to Chiba's side. Seeing this scene, Fugaku was startled and didn't wait for him to say anything. The little white snake suddenly opened its mouth and spit out a secret scroll. Chiba took the scroll, opened it, and checked the contents. After a while, Fugaku came to his senses and couldn't help but speak. "This is Master Orochimaru?" Chiba nodded. "That's right, the information he sent." Chapter 31. Beware of Uchiha Shursui. Fugaku was shocked. Who Orochimaru was, he knew all too well. Cold, strangers are not allowed to enter, full of paranoia about scientific research and ninjutsu, a very dangerous person. However, now they send information to Chiba. Then Orochimaru-san. Chiba nodded. "Now he's my comrade." "What? Even Lord Orochimaru joined you? How did you persuade him?" Hearing this, Chiba smiled. "No need to convince, because Comrade Orochimaru is a thinking man. He and I are like-minded, so I call him comrade. He sent information, that is to say, he is doing it now. Spy." Suddenly, Chiba put down the information scroll in his hand, couldn't help frowning, and looked at Fugaku. "Mr. Fugaku, this is called underground work." Fugaku was embarrassed. "Does this make a difference?" At this time, Chiba handed the scroll to Fugaku. When seeing the content on the scroll, Fugaku's pupils shrank suddenly. He should have guessed it long ago, but he just didn't want to admit it. "Father, what is written on the information scroll?" Itachi couldn't help asking. Fugaku glanced at Chiba. Chiba nodded, before Fugaku handed the scroll to his son. There is only one sentence written on it. "Watch out for Uchiha Shursui." Very. Itachi was shocked, hesitant to speak. "How come? Brother Shursui. Uchiha Shursui." To Itachi, it is the existence of both senior and brother. His crow illusion even originated from Shursui. Itachi and Shursui met even before Chiba. Only later, when war broke out, Shursui went to the front and rarely returned. Currently, Uchiha Shursui appears in Chiba's information scroll. That is to say, Uchiha Shursui is from Sarutobi Hiruzen's side. Is their enemy. Shursui brother is our enemy. No need to be nervous. Chiba spoke calmly and burned the intelligence scroll. At the same time, he put the white snake back and smiled. "Give me my greetings to Comrade Orochimaru." After doing all this, he looked at Fugaku and Itachi. "I know something about Uchiha Shursui. He has the big picture in mind too. Works on improving the relationship between Konoha and Uchiha. It's just that he failed to have a rational understanding of the high-level Konoha, and he is still at the stage of perceptual understanding of them. In addition to being influenced by Will of Fire, I was deceived. So, he is definitely not a real enemy. In this Konoha, our real enemies will always be those three mountains and the forces behind them. Please keep in mind, distinguishing the enemy from ourselves is the primary issue." Fugaku nodded, not surprised by Chiba's calmness. Itachi breathed a sigh of relief. At this time, Chiba looked at his friend and said, "Itachi, if you fail to see reality clearly, recognize the status quo. You should also walk the path of Uchiha Shursui." Fugaku next to him nodded, indicating the same time. He knows his son. From a small and mature mind, he can think about problems from the perspective of the village or even the shadow. And it is precisely this point that is easy to be exploited and deceived. In this way, Chiba can be regarded as restoring history. Among the original works, it was Uchiha Shursui who took Itachi to the ditch. However, because of Chiba's appearance, he was brought back. At this time, Chiba paused, changed the subject, looked at Fugaku, and smiled. Mr. Fugaku, listen to what I said. Are you still willing to join? Chiba has made it clear. To join is to fight against the Konoha in front of you. It's against Sarutobi Hiruzen, who Fugaku has succumbed to all his life. At the same time, this does not only represent him personally, also represents his Uchiha clan. Fugaku was still hesitating. Itachi next to him grabbed his wrist. Father! Itachi yelled. He looked at Fugaku with a meaningful look. Seeing this, Fugaku let out a breath slowly. After all, he's his own son. He said it before. He respects Itachi's choice. Now, he has no plans to change. Suddenly, he looked at Chiba and couldn't help but speak. Chiba, you grab my weakness. Itachi is his weakness. He values the Uchiha clan, but he values his son even more. Otherwise, in the original book. So he won't face Itachi's massacre and keep silent. Fugaku, he really did what he said. Even when he died, he still chose to respect his son's choice. Now, we are also like-minded. May I call you comrade? Fugaku reaches out his hand. Seeing this, Chiba smiled, reaching out to Fugaku for a perfect ending. Sure, comrade Fugaku. Today, Senju and Uchiha officially joined forces. The two families that established Konoha back then came together again. The gears of history are beginning to turn at this moment. However, Fugaku couldn't help but wonder. Comrade Chiba, why did you choose me, Uchiha to be precise? He didn't want to hear reasons like Uchiha is powerful. It's superficial. Doesn't match what he knows about Chiba. Fugaku felt. Chiba chose Uchiha. There must be a deeper reason. Because in this Konoha, the difficulties you Uchiha have suffered, the persecution you have suffered, and the suppression you have endured are the most serious. Correspondingly, the revolutionary nature of your Uchiha is also the strongest. Once the flag is raised high, you must be the first to respond. Fugaku suddenly understood. Keep talking about revolutionary. What a revolutionary. Of course, there's another reason. What if? I refuse. Fugaku continued to ask. Even if you refuse now, you will accept it in the future, because the final straw for Uchiha is coming. After the Nine Tails Rebellion, Uchiha provoked Konoha's most violent suppression. Uchiha at that time, no matter what he did, it was wrong. Until the last genocide night. Chapter 32, Sharingan Practice Method. This conversation, it went even smoother than Chiba imagined. In fact, Chiba prepared for the worst. He felt that Uchiha would definitely join him, but not now. It was after the Nine Tails Rebellion, when Konoha's high-ranking officials forced them to retreat. Of course, there are many factors that contributed to this result. For example, the oppression suffered by Uchiha was actually more cruel than Chiba imagined. Or maybe Fugaku paid more attention to Itachi than Chiba imagined, so Itachi played a non-negligible influence in this matter. Certainly, it doesn't matter anymore. Suddenly, Chiba took out a scroll and pushed it towards Fugaku. What's this? Fugaku couldn't help but speak. Gift. Chiba smiled, very mysterious. On the other hand, Itachi next to him seemed to have remembered something. His pupils vibrated, and he was very shocked. Chiba-kun, do you mean? This is Chiba nodded. Sharingan cultivation method, change. I'm done. My God! Itachi suddenly exclaimed, couldn't help but stood up straight away. Seeing how excited his son was, Fugaku couldn't help shaking his head. A son is a son after all. Itachi, what does it look like? The words are full of the tone of a father educating his son. Then he opened the scroll. Inside is the practice method of his Uchiha family Sharingan. The content is somewhat familiar. After all, it was originally from the Uchiha clan. But soon something was wrong. The content of the scroll explains Sharingan's evolutionary route from both human body and chakrology. From how to open the eyes, to the practice of 1-go jade to 3-go jade, they're all detailed descriptions, and the feasibility is very strong. My God! Fugaku exclaimed and quickly stood up. His reaction was even more exaggerated than Itachi's. This is the practice method I adapted from your Uchiha Sharingan. However, it's limited to theory. After all, I don't have a Sharingan, and I need Comrade Fugaku and your people to practice. Hearing this, Fugaku was shocked. Totally shocked. At this moment, he looked at Chiba like a monster. What an amazing person this is. Not only does he have a high level of thinking that cares about the world, but he even has the talent to modify the cultivation method. Although Chiba said that the practice of humility is limited to theory. But Fugaku, who has practiced Sharingan for many years, sees possibilities in this practice. Possibility of belonging to the Uchiha clan. Comrade Chiba, you are simply the benefactor of my Uchiha clan. Fugaku clasped his fists in thanks. Was indeed held back by Chiba. Now you and I are comrades who can fight side by side. There is no need for that. And by doing so, I also want to prove to the world that Uchiha is not inherently evil. Konoha has circulated in private. Uchiha is inherently evil, because the more you fall into darkness, the stronger the power of Sharingan will be. Sharingan is the symbol of Uchiha's fall into darkness. But right now, Chiba is showing the practice method to the world. No need for this. Uchiha can still get Sharingan and can already practice Sharingan. You can also be me and pay back the fruit that Senju planted back then. Hearing this, Fugaku froze. He knows what Chiba is talking about. The concept that Uchiha is inherently evil was passed down from Chiba's great-great-grandfather, Senju Tobirama. This is the conclusion Senju Tobirama has come to after studying Uchiha all his life. In this regard, he is convinced. Beware of Uchiha all his life, which created Konoha now. Okay, Comrade Fugaku, this conversation is almost over. The notes and practice method I gave you. Please distribute as appropriate. Hearing this, Fugaku reacted and looked at Chiba. You mean there might be spies in my Uchiha clan? Beware, it's always good. Been taught a lesson. The three came out of the guest room. Soon, the foreign visitors gathered Fugaku and started talking with each other. As for Chiba, it was quickly overlooked. Uchiha's sakura flowers throughout Konoha are prestigious, especially the patriarch's family. The appreciation under the sakura tree made Chiba feel the rare tranquility. Itachi, you friend, you give me a very free and easy feeling. Suddenly, next to Itachi and Chiba, a third person's voice sounded. He has a rare, Toanzi nose, wears black turtleneck short sleeves and black trousers, wears a brown armor on the right shoulder, and wears leggings. The Uchiha clan crest is embroidered on the back of the clothes, and a small dagger is carried on the back at all times. The legendary man who greened Sarutobi Asuma. Uchiha Shursui. At this moment, there are still legends about him on the battlefield at the Foggy Front. Just one look can make Wu Ying King give up the mission. His pupil technique has reached a certain level. I thought it had been a long time. Itachi would be very excited. However, right now, he froze in place. There is an indescribable complexity in the eyes. Chiba hastily poked his friend with his elbow. Itachi, Shursui are back. Hearing this, Shursui smiled and looked at Itachi's reaction with a weird expression. Well, I just came back. Chiba sighed. Itachi is really bad at lying. After all, Shursui, who was also a senior teacher and brother in the past, turned out to be a spy, which made him a little hard to accept. Suddenly, Shursui turned to Chiba and smiled. I heard Itachi never beat you. Come, make gestures. Probing? Or do you really want to compete? Just for whatever reason. Chiba is not afraid. Coincidentally, he also needs to test the results of his cultivation. Come. Chiba hooked his fingers. Instead, he became a provocateur. Shursui froze for a moment. Good guy. One anti-client. Taking advantage of this atmosphere, Shursui drew out his katana and walked under the sakura tree. However, an untimely voice suddenly sounded. Chapter 33, Uzumaki Kushina. You're a kid from the Tsunade family? A voice full of surprises came. Chiba looks back. I saw long red hair fluttering in the air among the sakura flowers. Then, she rushed over in a hurry, hugged Chiba, and held him in her arms, loving him so much. Oh, it's called Chiba. I didn't expect to grow so big. It's so cute. Suddenly, he was held in his arms. Chiba was at a loss. His head was buried on his chest, and he was a little out of breath in the soft hometown. Beside, Itachi, who saw this scene, was in a hurry and said quickly, "Aunt Kushina, Chiba-kun, he's almost out of breath." However, faced with Itachi's reminder, Kushina turned a blind eye. Putting his face on Chiba's, his eyes were full of love. The little boy face is very popular no matter what age women are, even if the other party is already a wife. After a while, Kushina couldn't help laughing when he saw Chiba's resentful eyes. "Chiba boy, what kind of eyes are you looking at? I hugged you when you were very young, and you even peed on my hand." Kushina, the nine-tails Jinchuriki who is carefree at all times. In this Konoha, there's no one she dare not mess with. Get angry. Even Sarutobi Hiruzen can make him speechless. Who made her the strategic nuclear weapon of this Konoha? Faced with Kushina's laughter, Chiba did not show weakness. "I know you. When I was young, I often came to my house to eat and drink. Now that you're married, you won't come. Scumbag. Boy, you are very brave." For a moment, the blood-red hair standing upside down interprets the meaning of her blood-red pepper. Uzumaki Kushina, a miserable woman. Konoha has since been sent as nine-tails Jinchuriki. Not only did they leave their hometowns, but the clan was eventually wiped out and became Konoha's tailed beast weapon. Before marrying Namikaze Minato, they were still in the Senju clan, just moved out after getting married. If other people were Jinchuriki, it would be absolutely impossible for Sarutobi Hiruzen to let him come into contact with Uchiha, let alone come to the land of the Uchiha tribe. Pity, she is Kushina. You, Sarutobi Hiruzen, won't take you seriously if you get tough. Therefore, on Itachi's mother's birthday, it is easy to understand that Kushina, who is her best friend, came here. Out was Miss Tsunade these days. Kushina stroked Chiba's silver hair and smiled. "Last time I beat up Hokage's assistant, and I'm in a good mood recently, but I've learned a medical ninjutsu that I haven't touched for a long time." The corner of Kushina's mouth twitched. "Good guy. This is also a restless master. I didn't expect you two little fellows to become friends." She looked at Chiba and Itachi. One can be regarded as the child of his own family, and the other is the child of his best friend. As for the other one, Kushina suddenly looked at Shursui, who drew a small dagger under the sakura flower tree. "Bullying my nephew." Shursui looked dazed. Looking at the Tai Dao in his hand, he quickly raised his hand to show his innocence. "Master Kushina, you misunderstood. Just compete with each other." Hearing this, Kushina's eyes narrowed slightly, making Shursui a little nervous. After a moment, she glanced at her nose. "I really don't feel any malice. However, I know you. Shursui, the guy who has made a name for himself, came to find a little guy to learn from, isn't a bully." Suddenly, she raised her wrist and smiled. "Why don't I compete with you? How can that be done?" Shursui waved his hands quickly, but Chiba next to him stood up. "It's okay, I also want to test the results of my practice." Kushina glanced at Chiba, but didn't stop him. "Okay, since you have said it yourself, then I will not interfere with you." Chiba nodded and looked at Shursui. "Looking for a place?" The two left quickly. Kushina, on the other hand, crossed her arms and was a little unhappy. "I don't appreciate your help. Just wait to suffer." "And Kushina, I think Chiba maybe he won't lose." Kushina froze for a moment, a little surprised by Itachi's words. "You must know that Shursui has made a name for himself on the battlefield. Can this also overturn the students in the ninja school? Go take a look." At the moment, in Uchiha's training clan, Chiba and Shursui looked at each other. Uchiha Itachi and Kushina watched from the sidelines. Itachi was a little excited. After all, he has never seen Chiba's true strength and does not know Chiba's upper limit. In his eyes, I am improving, but Chiba is improving at a faster rate. He never seems to be able to catch up with Chiba. Itachi didn't even know how far he was from Chiba, and today, I'm afraid he will know the answer. Shursui drew the Kodachi, and Chiba also drew his ninja sword. In an instant, the terrifying chakra poured down. The indescribable pressure made Shursui's palms start to sweat. What a horrible chakra. This chakra surprised Kushina, who was watching the match. As expected of the Senju clan, the amount of chakra is as good as I was back then. Hearing this, Itachi shook his head aside. Classic Versailles. Resisting the pressure of Chiba's chakra, Shursui smiled. Facing Chiba at this moment, there is actually a sense of excitement on the battlefield for the first time. Come on, Chiba. Both sides of the chakra start to boil. But at this moment, Kushina frowned. Not only does she have the eyes of Kagura, but also because of the existence of 9 tails, she can perceive malice. Right now, besides Chiba and Shursui, there is a hidden chakra peeking out. Snort. Where do cats and dogs come from? Dare to come and peep. She snorted coldly. Instant shot. The golden chakra was released and turned into a golden chain, which directly locked the training group in front of him. Chapter 34. The Bandpeeper. Adamantine Sealing Chains. A unique ability because chakra of the Uzumaki family has the effect of sealing, strong enough even to seal the tailed beast. Because of this, the Uzumaki clan is a born-tailed Jinchuriki. At this moment, she unfolded the sealing barrier, enveloping both Chiba and Shursui in it. The sudden huge chakra stunned Chiba and Shursui for a moment. At this moment, both of them felt that the chakra in their bodies seemed to have stagnated. There is an indescribably terrible oppressive force. After a while, the golden chains separated the sealed chakra and disappeared suddenly. Immediately afterwards, adamantine sealing chains submerged into Kushina's body, and everything calmed down again. Shursui was very surprised and couldn't help but glance at Kushina. Master Kushina? Kushina quickly smiled and waved her hands. It's okay, you continue. Shursui couldn't help swallowing. Just at that moment, he felt as if he was sealed, and even the flow of chakra slowed down. The terrible seal chakra. Is this Konoha's 9 tails Jinchuriki? Compared to Shursui, Chiba is much calmer. Kushina even looked at Chiba and couldn't help but praise. Itachi now, I kind of believe what you said. The sudden opening made Itachi a little puzzled. What's wrong? Aunt Kushina. Nothing. She smiled but said nothing. However, the heart is very excited. Her adamantine sealing chains. Even 9 tails can limit the seal. Just at that moment, Shursui was shrouded in chains, and even chakra was frozen. But she felt as if Chiba hadn't been affected. His chakra is powerful, solid, and has great vitality, shining like the sun, with an indescribable warmth. Not to mention this side. At the moment, Hokage office. Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Dans looked at the pitch-black crystal ball with bewildered expressions. Hiruzen, is your ship broken? Sarutobi Hiruzen's face darkened. He felt that Danzo was trying to annoy him here on purpose. And it really PD'd him off. Didn't you see my chakra blocked by Kushina? Her perception ability is unsurpassed in the entire Konoha, plus her powerful sealing technique. I'm afraid I won't be able to see it today. Sarutobi Hiruzen and Danzo originally wanted to use Shursui to spy on the affairs of the Uchiha clan through the telescope technique, mainly a Chiba and Uchiha thing. As a result, Kushina was killed halfway. Danzo frowned and couldn't help scolding. Hiruzen, this is the consequence of your indulgence. Kushina, being a 9 tails Jinchuriki, shouldn't have gotten so close to Uchiha. She is actually Fugaku's wife's best friend. Have you ever thought about the consequences? Hearing this, Sarutobi Hiruzen took a deep breath, looking at Danzo like a fool. Danzo, you are amazing. You go and tell Kushina, keep her away from Uchiha. She's notoriously short-tempered. It's the time of war again. What are you going to do to provoke her? Sarutobi Hiruzen was beaten by Kushina not once or twice. He was so tired of being beaten. Danzo glanced at Sarutobi Hiruzen, then let Namake's Minato do the talking. Sarutobi Hiruzen. Minato listens to her too. Danzo. At this moment, there is a strange atmosphere between Chiba and Shursui. Bring it on. Shursui's expression changed, and his eyes became sharp. The kodachi in his hand slashed directly at Chiba. Be careful, Chiba. Shui is ridiculously fast. The eyes couldn't even keep up with his movement. This is a knife that few people can react to. However, Chiba held a ninja knife and blocked it with one hand. The speed is very fast, but unfortunately, the strength is a lot worse. At this moment, in Chiba's eyes, the virtual panel appeared. Name: Uchiha Shui weakness. Physique: the Uchiha family has always been very versatile, but their physique is flawed. This is true whether it is Itachi or Shui. The difference is that the current Itachi's physique has been trained. Sharingan is heaven-defying, has excellent dynamic vision, and can even replicate ninjutsu. However, the eyes kept up, but the body couldn't keep up. Moment. Chiba held the knife in both hands and slashed at Shui with his backhand. With one blow, he slashed heavily and pressed down hard. In an instant, the majestic chakra and irresistible force caused Shui to be bounced away instantly. Not only that, Chiba's knife was so powerful that it even pulled out the light of the knife and the pressure of the sword, blowing Shui away from the front. Even though he has experienced many battles on the battlefield, Shui couldn't help but grow his mouth at this moment, looking at Chiba like a monster. What kind of physical fitness? Shui was speechless. Physically, he was crushed. With his adult physique, he was completely suppressed by the 6-year-old Chiba. Although Chiba looks much more than 6 years old, the special exercise method allowed Chiba to develop rapidly. And now he looks like a 10-year-old child. Your attack is over. It's my turn. Chiba stepped on his foot and disappeared in an instant. The speed is no less than Shui, or even faster. Then, Chiba made his first cut towards Shui, a school of swordsmanship he had never seen before. This knife is amazing, but he can escape. However, geniuses have their arrogance. If Chiba blocks his own knife, he can also block Chiba's knife. But he paid wrong after all. The moment Shui caught Chiba's knife, the power transmitted from the Tai Dao is astonishingly terrifying. It is heavier than Chiba's counterattack just now. Can't stop. Shui's complexion changed, and he raised the Tai Dao, letting Chiba's sword slide to the ground. Then, boom! The moment Chiba's ninja sword hit the ground instantly cracked. The majestic chakra is even released from a ninja sword, and its momentum is even stronger than the enemies on the battlefield. Shui was shocked. Grass. He couldn't help but curse inwardly. Is his chakra free? To be able to spend so much. This is Senju. Can Uchiha's family be suppressed? The next moment, Uchiha Shui raised his hand. The pitch-black eyes turned into blood red. That's 3 Tomo Sharingan. Chapter 35: Chiba versus Shui. Facing is the same age as Itachi and a child of ninja school. Shui never thought that he would use Sharingan, but the speed and power brought by Chiba's overwhelming physique has the most raw violence and threat. He simply relies on swordsmanship and physical skills. He is afraid that he will be completely suppressed by Chiba. In the distance, Kushina, who saw this scene, was shocked. He didn't expect that a face-to-face meeting would end like this. That Shui was actually forced out of Sharingan. Fantastic boy. However, Shui uses Sharingan, and Chiba's physical advantage is gone. Because Sharingan's dynamic vision is best at dealing with this kind of physical ninja. Unlike Kushina's horror, the ferret next to him looked very calm, and even a little proud. Aunt Kushina, I think you may have overestimated Sharingan. At the same time, underestimated Chiba-kun's physique even more. Hearing this, Kushina glanced at Itachi, sigh inwardly. Dude, you seem happy that Uchiha Sharingan lost? At this time, Shui's big blood-red eyes commented on Chiba with an indescribable fighting spirit. Chiba, next time, be careful. The moment after saying this sentence, Shui's eyes widened. The blood-red eyes were released with a powerful pupil technique. Phantom body flicker technique. Swish. Shui disappeared. The next moment, on the training ground, afterimages appeared one after another. These afterimages seemed to have turned into entities, making it difficult to distinguish between real and fake. 1, 2, 3. There are dozens of afterimages. Seeing the scene, Chiba narrowed his eyes slightly. Is this the legendary Shursui? The next moment, Shursui's afterimage unexpectedly attacked Chiba at the same time. With this move, Shursui even used it to instantly kill a large number of enemy ninjas on the Kirigage front. Seeing this, do you think Chiba won't lose? Kushina looked at Itachi and said. Itachi shook his head and smiled. I won't lose. And it was the moment when the dense afterimages of Shursui attacked Chiba. Chiba puts his thumb to his heart. Plop plop. The powerful heart began to beat, and there were even bursts of roaring sounds. For a moment, Chiba's chakra started climbing. In the blink of an eye, it doubled more than 10 times. Silver hair, bathed in yellow chakra, stands on his head. Super Senju people. The violent golden chakra poured down, as heavy as the sea. But at the moment when Chiba's chakra was released, Kushina seemed to notice something, and his pupils shrank suddenly. Boom! Suddenly, there was a strong shock in her abdomen. She quickly extracted her own chakra, poured it into it, and stabilized the impact in it. After a while, the shock dissipated and Kushina touched her belly. At this moment, on her smooth abdomen, the sealing technique was inexplicably revealed. They are the most ferocious tailed beasts in the entire ninja world. 9 tails are sealed. At this moment, Kushina's consciousness invaded, came to the seal, and found that 9 tails was restless. 9 tails, are you going crazy again? Dense golden chains flew out, restraining the restless 9 tails and suppressing their chakra together. The chakra of the Uzumaki family is too special. 9 tails was suppressed, but it grinned and opened its mouth. Kushina, what was that chakra just now? Obviously, 9 tails was disturbed by the chakra that had just erupted from Chiba, and that's when he started to get restless. This chakra is exactly the same as the original Senju, Hashirama. Damn Hashirama, ho 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 ho. Suddenly, 9 tails went mad and roared. Soaring into the sky, chakra unleashes 9 flying tails, tearing apart Kushina's adamantine sealing chains. At this moment, the blood-red chakra broke through Kushina's seal and leaked out. 9 tails, seeing the perspective of Kushina's eyes. It's that brat. This chakra, this constitution, can't go wrong. 9 tails, are you getting carried away? Moment. Kushina snorted coldly. Inside the seal, the shocking chakra erupted instantly. The amount of chakra is huge, no less than that of a tailed beast. These chakra are combined to form countless golden chains, which directly tie 9 tails together. 9 tails is struggling. Unfortunately, its blood-red chakra was getting weaker and weaker, and finally fell silent completely. Measuring its eyes, I couldn't help but close them. Kushina, don't be too happy. Sooner or later, old man, 9 tails was completely suppressed by the golden chain before he could finish his ruthless words, and was locked in the seal again. The next moment, Kushina's consciousness returned, and the sealing technique in her abdomen suddenly disappeared, making her unable to help but sigh. Unfortunately, this sealing technique still has loopholes. Can't really seal 9 tails completely. Not to mention this side. Kushina once again turned her attention to the fight between Chiba and Shursui. The sparring between the two is still going on. At this moment, countless phantom Shursui attacked and besieged Chiba, but the next moment, Chiba disappeared directly. The speed was so fast that it even burst out the impact of sound waves. At this moment, Chiba turned his physical advantage into the purest violent aesthetics. Hit faster. Thump thump, the afterimages of Shursui were shot down one by Chiba in the blink of an eye. What? Shursui was shocked. Can it still be like this? What kind of monster is this? Faster than my secret body flicker technique. Instantly shot down, Shursui was suppressed again and retreated one after another. But Chiba didn't give him this chance. Chasing at a faster speed, the majestic vitality is accompanied by the beating heart of the Emperor's engine, and there is an indescribable sense of oppression. Sharp, I have fought countless battles as far as physical fitness and physical skills are concerned. Senju Chiba, you are the strongest I have ever seen, and no one can surpass you. Chapter 36, Manjiki in an instant. I have fought countless battles as far as physical fitness and physical skills are concerned. Senju Chiba, you are the strongest I have ever seen, and no one can surpass you. As he spoke, Shui formed a mudra with one hand and held the tie-dao tightly in his right hand. Fire style. Heavy flame slash. Blazing a huge fire dragon was spit out by Shui and instantly surrounded his sword. The next moment, he held up the tie-dao and slashed out. Slashing the elemental damage surrounding the fire dragon caused the temperature of the entire training ground to rise suddenly. This knife is like a broken bamboo. No one could take it. Seeing this, Chiba just smiled. He felt the blood in his body boiling. Sure enough, a worthy opponent can make me recognize myself better. Bring it on. At this moment, there is only war. Chiba likes to read very much, so he is very quiet in normal times. After all, he is a reader. But in his heart, there's also a crazy side. At this moment, this side is completely released. Chakra release. Chiba raised his right hand. The majestic chakra is unleashed. Form change. Chiba manipulated chakra to the point of near pervert. Its shape change is even more extreme. At this moment, countless tiny chakra began to spin, making a piercing popping sound. Buzz, buzz. The moment Kushina heard this voice, his expression changed. What? This form change, Rasengan. Horrified, she looked towards Chiba. Spotted above Chiba's right hand, chakra spun with incredible speed. This change is similar to Rasengan's rotation. Only, the rotation method is different from Rasengan. Chiba's fast-spinning chakra takes on the form of a spear. However, this shocked her even more, because, obviously, this gesture is more damaging than Rasengan. However, it is also more difficult to stabilize at the same time. This inevitably shocked Kushina. Chiba's chakra can stabilize in this posture. Incredible. Kushina was shocked, really shocked. Rasengan, the ultimate form of chakra style change. It is an A-level ninjutsu created by Namikaze Minato based on the tailed beast bomb. Unmarked, instant, armor-piercing with flying thunder god. This is the biggest feature of Rasengan. However, due to its spherical shape, it has almost no penetrating ability. However, Chiba's chakra form has completely rewritten Rasengan's flaws. The same Muji and instant. However, chakra, which is spinning at high speed, has a terrifying armor-piercing ability, and its spear shape will give it a powerful penetrating ability. This is an advanced version of Rasengan. Its destructive ability is necessarily above Rasengan. Bring it on. Chiba didn't think much of it. At this moment, there seemed to be a beast hiding in his heart. Shape change, spiral gun. To see through the flaws of chakra's extreme form change. Empowering chakra with the purest destructive power. Boom! The dragon flame cut by Shui was directly torn into pieces the moment it hit the spiral gun. And it is driven by the spinning chakra, as if a fire dragon is sucked into Chiba's hand. Immediately afterwards, the power of the spiral gun remained undiminished and rushed toward Shui. Shui's pupils shrank suddenly. While horrified, he also saw through the truth of this terrible whirling chakra. Sharp. It's amazing. I didn't expect it to be so powerful. Face the dreaded screw gun. Shui went head-on. His Sharingan suddenly began to spin, and in an instant, it changed into a strange pattern. Although it was only for a moment, it was still captured by Chiba. This surprised him immensely. Good guy. Manjiki. This guy Shui actually started Manjiki during this period. Then, with a bang, Shui's body was hit head-on. The smog all over the sky deprived all sight. And in the smoke, in Chiba's line of sight, a phantom blocked the terrible blow. Chiba knew that it was probably Susanoo. However, Itachi and Kushina next to him couldn't see it, and felt a little thrilling at the moment. He was hit head-on. Is this going to happen? I don't know when Kushina changed from worrying about Chiba to worrying about Shui. The strength Chiba showed was too unexpected, and at this moment, amidst the smoke, densely packed crows flew out. Every crow has the Sharingan of the three jades engraved in its eyes. These crows croaked, attacked Chiba, and released the pupil technique at the same time. Let Chiba fall into the illusion directly. However, this illusion is only for a moment. Chiba's chakra is too majestic, coupled with Chiba's terrible chakra control. Even Sharingan's illusion can only disturb Chiba chakra for an instant. Chiba also played up. There was a rare look of excitement on his face. Perhaps this is a rare opportunity for him to show himself without reservation. Shursui was also surprised. Even on the foggy battlefield, no enemy ninja can beat him like this. The body is powerful, chakra is majestic, and its subtle manipulation is even more extreme. This is a person who is more terrifying than his talent. After a while, Shursui retracted the knife, looked at Chiba, and formed a seal of reconciliation with a complicated expression. Just now, even he was excited, even used Manjiki without realizing it. In this sparring session, the two sides made frequent moves and kept their hands open. Neither side tried their best. However, both sides played a little bit over the top, because it is rare for both sides to experience the thrill of being evenly matched. Only Chiba is it convenient to take a step to talk. Shursui issued an invitation. Seeing this and leaving, Itachi next to him thought of the information sent by Orochimaru and couldn't help but want to speak. But was stopped by Chiba. Chiba knows. Shursui actually wanted to say something else, because Chiba could see that Shursui didn't want to expose Manjiki's existence. Chapter 37 Shursui. I have a friend. Shursui took Chiba to a remote place. As soon as he arrived, Shursui couldn't help but scratch his head, apologetic. Sorry, Chiba. The sparring just now is a bit over the top. After speaking, he pointed to his eyes and continued to speak. Can you keep the matter of my eyes secret for me? Shursui knows. Chiba, who was fighting against him, must have seen his own Manjiki. Of course, Kushina may perceive the change in her chakra, but that doesn't mean anything. Hearing this, Chiba smiled. Could this be the legendary Manjiki Sharingan? Shursui was surprised that Chiba even knew this. Since Uchiha Madara, Uchiha has hardly had a Manjiki. By this time, many members of the Uchiha clan themselves did not even know the existence of Manjiki. Generally, only those who have opened the three-hook jade or even go to a higher level will know this. You even know Manjiki? Chiba nodded. I'm Senju after all. During the war, the Senju of my ancestors fought against your Uchiha a lot. Shursui nodded. No surprise there. Can you keep it a secret for me? Chiba nodded. Of course. It's just that I'm a little curious. How did you start Manjiki? An accident. When Shursui said this, he was very calm. Heart like Shursui. However, Chiba could sense the turmoil in Shursui's heart. The Uchiha family is full of love in their hearts, so they're often sensitive in their hearts. This is especially the case for Uchiha, who is stimulated to open Manjiki. As for the specific accident, Shursui did not say. Chiba also wisely did not continue to ask, but opened the mouth. Can you tell me why you keep it secret? This is the power that belongs to Uchiha. Hearing this, Shursui gave a wry smile. It's not that I'm trying to hide our Uchiha's power. It's just that my Manjiki ability is a bit special. I can't expose it. Chiba knew what Shursui meant by special. Distinguished heavenly gods, the power to manipulate the mind. This kind of ability will attract the jealousy of the enemy, and at the same time, it will also attract the suspicion of teammates, because this ability can even quietly distort your will and thinking. At this time, Shursui waved his hand and quickly changed the subject. Okay, stop talking about me. You are the protagonist of today. Shursui smiled and couldn't help but compliment Chiba. Strong physique, massive chakra, terrifying shape change. Chiba, are you interested in joining Umbu? Umbu can have you join. It will make us Konoha stronger. Konoha's future needs you to watch over it. Chiba didn't know whether it was Sarutobi Hiruzen's meaning or Shursui's emotion from the heart. It's just that his tone is very sincere. However, Chiba just shook his head. No, I have my own way to build Konoha. Chiba does not use guard. It's construction. However, Shursui didn't hear Chiba's implication. Hearing this, Shursui looked very disappointed and couldn't help shaking his head. Is it? That would be a pity. Master Hokage appreciates you very much. Appreciation from Sarutobi Hiruzen, Chiba didn't take kindly. After all, he sees it as an enemy. However, we may have the opportunity to fight side by side in the future. Shursui smiled, rather cheerfully. However, his eyes were erratic, and it was obvious that he wanted to say something. What's the matter? You just say it doesn't matter. I heard Itachi talk about you. Shursui spoke suddenly, and his face changed. Compared with the optimism just now, it was more serious and painful at the moment. He said, "You are a thoughtful person, and you have many unique insights into many things." Absurd. Chiba nodded. If you're confused, I am willing to listen. Chiba thought Shursui would ask about his relationship with Itachi and even Uchiha. Didn't expect Shursui to say this. I have a friend, Chiba, such a classic opening speech, which made Chiba a little dumbfounded. Here, there is no one else. You don't have to, I said. I'm willing to be a listener. Hearing this, Shursui opened his mouth. His face turned red. The little trick was exposed, making his face feel a little hot. However, thinking of his own experience, he still spoke. I thought, the whole Konoha should be harmonious and a whole. Everyone is a big family, and every family is a part of this Konoha. For this reason, I chose to join Umbu and want to work hard for it. I have worked hard, performed many tasks, and killed countless enemies. However, in the end, I found that I couldn't see that goal more and more clearly. After saying this, Shursui felt a little regretful. Perhaps it was my biggest secret today. Manjiki was discovered by Chiba, which made him reveal the weakness beneath his superficial strength, and his tense nerves finally relaxed a bit. He rarely confides his heart to others. Although Shursui spoke very cryptically, Chiba understood what he meant. So, is that why you Manjiki Sharingan opened your eyes? Very. For a split second, Shursui froze. He didn't expect Chiba's answer to be so shocking. Although your words just now were somewhat obscure. But I understand. I translate and translate. Do you see it or not? You think Konoha is a whole. So should Uchiha. But the fact is that Konoha is always on guard against Uchiha, even suppressing him. For this reason, you have chosen to join Umbu and come under Hokage's command to serve him. I want to link this Konoha and Uchiha through myself and build a bridge. But you failed. You failed to do all this. On the contrary, I am more and more desperate for the gap between Konoha and Uchiha. Even Konoha wants to use you to monitor and even control Uchiha. You're hopeless and powerless. Taking this opportunity, you have activated your Manjiki Sharingan. Do you think I'm right? Chapter 38, The Belief of the Army, is the people. Chiba said slowly. Every sentence seemed to hit Shursue's heart. True and brutal. Chiba even analyzed his own reasons for starting Manjiki from it. Of course, this is also traceable. Sharingan, known as the pupil that reflects the soul. Manjiki's ability will reflect the heart of the person who opened the eyes. Uchiha Obito has seen his friendship kill love firsthand. In order to escape from reality, Hollow who escaped the world was awakened. In order to destroy reality, Kamui who twisted the world was awakened. Uchiha Itachi lacks time to solve the problems of the village and the clan. Tsukuyomi's Genjutsu, which can manipulate the world freely, has been awakened. At the same time, he was deeply influenced by the will of fire and carried the darkness of the village on his back. Amaterasu, the eternal fire of darkness, has awakened. And Uchiha Shursui, committed to Konoha and Uchiha estrangement, fell into despair. He found that only by distorting people's mind can these barriers be eliminated, so he awakened the distinguished heavenly gods. However, in Shursue's eyes, he was astonished. Terrible analytical skills. Shursui had to look at Chiba differently.
No more novels? Take part in the voting. The most requested novels and those with the most likes will be chosen for publication on euroaudiobooks.com. There, I can upload as much as I want without the risk of receiving a strike. Our 18 novels and other content that exceed what is morally acceptable are only published on Patreon or the free novels page. Remember, the site is funded by donations on Ko-fi and Patreon memberships.